Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And I thought we'd start off our show here today by talking about some of the, not the high school wrestlers, some of the guys that are, or gals that have
Just
gone on.
Gone on, and let's start off with our favorite, Stephen Buchanan.
Yeah.
Stephen this week is now number one in the nation at 197 pounds. AJ Ferrari, I believe he's someplace in California he's wrestling.
Let me see here. It's CSU Bakersfield.
Yeah, see, AJ was a national champion as a freshman for Oklahoma State, then was in a bad car accident. He's just starting to come back, and I think he also had some other problems too, and that's why he's wrestling at Bakersfield instead of a big-time school. But he's a wrestling talent, and actually his little brother is on the Iowa roster.
Oh, okay.
He's a teammate of Steven. No, he's redshirting this year. Angelo.
Okay.
So anyway, Steven, number one. Last week against Illinois, just looked dominating in a 13-2 match. And if you had the Big Ten Network, a lot of Friday nights they have two wrestling matches. This last week they had Illinois and Iowa, and then I believe the second one was Ohio State and Nebraska. Just terrific wrestling. Four good programs. And the Big Ten is just loaded with wrestling. Penn State, number one in the nation. Iowa, number two. Ohio State, number four. Nebraska's in the top 10. Minnesota's looking to crack the top 10. But they're just
even Michigan's got some good wrestlers.
Yeah, Michigan has a tremendous program also. So, and Purdue has some nice wrestlers. Wisconsin has some nice wrestlers. But nationwide, the Big Ten is just dominant this year. So.
Yeah, and speaking of Michigan, Jacob Cardenas of Michigan is now number 2 at 197. And I think it's because of the fact that Stephen Buchanan, the way he's wrestling right now and dominating his opponents, he's getting more points.
Yeah,
that's elevated him to number 1.
Yeah, he has so many major decisions, or like against Wisconsin, had a 40-second pin. That's how his matches. He's getting bonus team points all the time for his team. So
yeah, it'll be interesting now because they have number 4 Ohio State this Saturday does second-ranked Iowa.
Yeah.
And then the big matchup is next Friday.
Yeah, against Penn State.
At Penn State.
Yeah, that'll be a dandy. Yeah.
And the 197-pounder at Penn State is ranked 4th in the nation. So it should be something else there.
Stephen, he's just an amazing athlete. People look at me and I said, he wrestled 195 as a senior, and that was in 2019. And now here he is, 2025, and he's wrestling 197. He is just totally committed to his sport, and so he's just a tremendous athlete and a great kid too.
Oh, so, very nice, very nice.
Guess you don't really call him a kid anymore.
No, right. Well, we can.
Yeah, he can. He's younger than we are.
Yes,
so,
he's a lot younger than we are.
But anyway, just an absolute nice person.
Yes, he is.
And he had some brothers that wrestled at NGL too, and all nice people.
You bet. You bet. All right, another alum, freshman goalie, Sydney Magnuson, formerly of Neillsville, now playing goalie over at Marion University and doing very well.
Very well. She stepped right in. And this is a girl that's, hockey, she's pretty much played year round, and so she was ready to go to playing college the minute she stepped on the ice, and she has proven it. She had a tremendous career with the Black River Co-op, and now she's really doing great at Marion, too. So.
Yeah, she got the NCHA Star of the Week selection this past week.
Bet that don't happen to many freshmen in any conference,
right.
Larry. So,
and she's doing a tremendous job on the net, 22 saves and a win over Aurora, who they hadn't beaten in 5 years.
5 years, yes. So that's tremendous. So, and this week they are playing Lawrence, and she'll be facing an old teammate, Lizzie Jorgensen. Lizzie, a couple years older than Sydney, but still had an exceptional career too with the Black River Falls Co-op, and is doing very well at Lawrence. And I believe she's playing 2 sports at Lawrence.
I believe you're right.
I believe hockey and softball. Yeah. That was her original intention anyway. So.
And another Black River Falls Co-op player, Zoe Hunter, is also on that Marion roster.
Yeah, her and she and Sydney were kind of the catalyst.
Yeah.
Zoe from the forward end, and then Sydney and the goalie. So they were the catalyst for that team, and it's kind of great that they're going on to college together too. So
you bet. Also, congratulations to Community Boxing Club member Vaughn Millard. Yeah. He's a regional Silver Gloves champion. So that means he moves on to the National Silver Gloves in Missouri beginning next week.
Yeah. So Vaughn Millard, did well out in the regionals, and
good luck to him.
He's a nice boy too, young man. He's a very nice young man, and I believe he got at the last community boxing thing. There are 2 Merlin Lindo awards given out, one to the top boxer of the whole thing, and then one also to the top Nielsville.
Okay.
And Vaughn got the Nielsville award.
Okay.
So
all right.
And so it's cool. Pretty neat. So
yeah. Speaking of boxing, they're going to have some boxing coming up this weekend
at Bakerville
Sports Bar. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the Legranders Memorial Boxing Show.
Yeah. Legrander Cheese up at Stanley. Wonderful people. And anyway, Dan Legrander is originally from Marshall. Actually, he and Merle Lindo and Florence Lindo all graduated from high school the same year.
Okay.
So anyway, but Dan and Merle, of course, were big parts of the Flossie Gus gym. And, And now his grandsons have continued. I don't know if they're boxed, but they really honored their grandfather by doing this. And we sat with them the last time that they had it in Bakerville, and that was right after the pandemic. People could go out again. And there were people hanging from the rafters at Bakerville. And I don't know if you've ever been there.
No.
It's a really neat place.
Okay.
But there were people hanging from the rafters to watch boxing. And Highway B, I think, was cars on the side of it for miles on each side of it. But
well, hopefully it'll be that way again on
but
Saturday.
Anyway, the Legranders really committed to the community boxing and good people. Ryan Legrander and his younger brother, and so.
Yeah, okay, that's the doors open at 3, first match at 5.
Yep.
And that's again boxers from our area and around the Midwest.
Yeah, they'll probably have 15 to 20 bouts there. So and it's good boxing, very good boxing. So
all right, there you go. All right, moving on. What was I going to talk about next? We got a lot of basketball and wrestling and all the other stuff going on.
Not much basketball to talk about this week yet.
So. No, a couple of games got called off this week. High school wrestling, though, how about Neilsville Greenwood Loyal taking first over in Nakusa?
Yeah, this was pretty interesting. Originally I thought Auburndale was scheduled, but they pulled out of that tournament, and Neilsville just dominated over there. 10 schools, and they just ran away with that tournament. 6 champions.
Yeah.
And what's really cool, you get freshmen at 106 and 113. Bowden Opelt and Mason Anding both winning championships.
Yeah.
See, their first tournament, and that's something they'll always remember no matter what tournament it was. But,
you bet.
Chase Littner, the sophomore, first at 126. Hudson Sebeste Opel just dominant and down to 144 now.
And I noticed in the rankings now, I went through to try and find who the area wrestlers were ranked, and he's ranked at 144.
Yeah. He just started wrestling there, so they move him right into rankings.
Okay,
so
all right.
He had been wrestling at 150,
and
I think he had been third there, I believe, third or fourth.
All right.
But the guys ahead of him are pretty tough.
Yeah, they are.
So he's probably looking, and to go up to 157, there's a gentleman, Danny Heiser from Evansville, who is going to be probably a 4-time state champion by the end of this year. So 144 probably was the best move for Hudson.
Okay, all right.
But then anyway, Jake Luchteron, a championship at 175, and Jackson Meyer at 285. So just a great performance by the NGL Wrestling. And this weekend, they in Marshfield, and Marshfield took second over a big tournament at Lake Geneva at Badger Invitational. Kakana was first, so there you go, 2 pretty good teams over there. But anyway, Neilsville and Marshfield, and along with Regis Altoona, are all going to the Venerable Sparta Invitational this week.
They've been going to that tournament since I was in school.
Yeah. I said, that was one where, Ryan Hoffman wrestled there, Gunner wrestled there, and they both won championships, so it's kind of neat. Other area teams are going up to Wausau West this weekend. Larry Abbotsford, Auburndale, Marathon, Stratford, and Spash are all headed to Wausau West for
another pretty good one there.
So Stratford was second at a Ladysmith tournament this week, and Wyawega Fremont was really a tough team up there. Wyawega Fremont, in the past, I've never heard much about them in wrestling, but they are very dominant, and they're top ranked in D2. So, but anyway, Stratford was second of them, but they had 6 champions. Colton Hopp at 106, the Canoyers, Trenton and Collin at 120 and 126, Aaron Knetter at 132, Carter Luke at 190, and Gage at Drew Gage at 285. So pretty good performance for Stratford.
It's hard to believe we're only just a few weeks away from
yeah,
the conference tournament.
Conference tournament will be about the 1st of February, and then 8th regionals, 15 sectionals, 22nd state, just like that. Bang, bang, bang. Busy February. So
for wrestlers.
And everybody, everything's counting down here. We're on the 23rd day of this January. So,
I know.
So we'll be talking crossovers before you know it.
Yes, we will. And speaking of girls not speaking of, but going to girls basketball, they started the second half of the season last week. And so they are into the second half, and Neillsville starting the second half pretty much the way they started the season, beating Greenwood 56-20. They're now 8-0 in the conference.
Yeah, 79 in a row, and tonight going for number 80.
Going for 80 in a row against Columbus Catholic. Owen Withey still at 7-1 in the conference, and then in the West, Fall Creek and Regis are both 6-1, and McDonald Central 5-2.
Yeah, I think. Like you said, we believe that Fall Creek is the best team there, but you never know. All three are going to be in it right to the end, and then all three are going to be D4, I believe. So they'll be fighting it out in the same regional sectional. So they're probably going to be third matchups too, Larry.
In for a battle. Yeah, yes. So Columbus Catholic and Neillsville coming up tonight in girls basketball. You can hear that game on 92.7 WPKG again, going for 80 in a row in the Eastern Chlorobelt. That's
quite
for Neillsville.
Quite an accomplishment.
It is. Let's see.
Oh, Sydney Supke this week, second place in the three-point shooting contest.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
and the young girl from Assumption is first in Division 5.
Yeah, Jordan Jelinski is first. And then, speaking of Columbus, Caitlin Casperson from Columbus is sixth in D5. So,
and again, the top two in those three-point challenges go on to the challenge in March.
And like I said, you have a bad night of shooting, it'll drop you past. But Sydney hanging pretty good at second. So, All
right, boys basketball. The Eastern Chlorobelt is really tightened up after Loyal took a loss the other night.
I said 5-1 Loyal, and then Neillsville, Columbus, Owen Withey, and Spencer all at 4-2.
And Spencer was supposed to have played Neillsville
Tuesday night. But that got canceled, and so we'll see what happens with Friday night. Kobe is at Loyal, Neillsville at Greenwood, Owen Withey at Gilman. The big one, I guess, Larry, would be Spencer at Columbus. So
the only one that involves the two teams.
So that's not going to really break up that logjam too much this week because, you would expect probably Loyal to win, Neillsville to win, and probably Owen Withey all to win. So you're still looking at probably three teams at 5-2 and a team at 6-1. So
right. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting here the second half of the season.
And what's crazy, Larry, you go right to the east, and the Marewood South is pretty much the same thing there. You got Auburndale at 7-1, Marathon and Stratford both at 6-2, and Assumption dropped back a little bit 4-4, but still another three-team race and good basketball over there.
Yeah, and Auburndale, I think, just beat them. I think it was in overtime.
Yeah, last Friday night.
Yeah, in overtime.
A great game there. So.
All right, in the Western Chlorobelt, Bloomer and Stanley Boyd are both 4-1, and then McDonald Central and Fall Creek are 3-2. So battle over there,
that
too.
Stanley Boyd team, I think, is for real, Larry. We've seen them play. They're pretty good ball club. They're young.
Yeah.
But with just enough senior leadership there but a lot of height and a lot of length on that team. So they're going to be tough for anybody to play. But Bloomer, I think, is going to have another strong team this year, too.
Yeah, if Bloomer's anything like they were.
Last year. They were powerful last year.
Yeah.
So. And they play in D3, too. So it's just a kind of a step up on everybody, too, it seems like, too. So
just a note here, the Mosinee Neillsville girls basketball game that was scheduled for Monday is going to be this Saturday night.
Okay.
They'll have a JV at 5:45 and the varsity at 7:15. Okay. And then the boys game with Spencer, Neillsville and Spencer, that's going to be made up February 15th. Okay. That'll be a Saturday night is when they're going to make that game up. So. And high school wrestling, NGL is in action tonight.
Yes, they're going up to Regis Altoona, up to Raw. I believe it's at Altoona.
It's at Altoona,
Yep. So I don't know. Is there a third school there?
Abbotsford Colby is going to be there, too.
All right. So, that'll be from what I see, NGL and Regis Altoona are probably the top two teams in the conference. So this matchup tonight could be for the dual team championship. So.
Yeah, we see conference wrestling right now. I actually got Cadet up there, too.
Okay.
At 4-0.
Okay,
And
they
then,
slipped a little bit under my radar. Though.
Yeah. Well, they're usually up there.
Yes, they are. So
normally. All right, let's move on to where are they now, unless you got something else you want to fit in.
Nothing we can get to, yeah.
All right. Let's go to where are they now.
Okay, Larry, I am going up to Gilman, and I am going to talk about Brenda Gunn. And Brenda is a 1993 graduate of Gilman High School. In the fall, Brenda was a 3-year letter winner on the Pirate volleyball team. Her sophomore year, the Pirates were 12-8 on the season, losing in the regionals to Owen Withy. Brenda had 32 assists on the season. Her junior year, Gilman was 14-9 on the season, losing in the regionals to Abbotsford. Brenda had 86 assists and 35 kills on the season and was an honorable mention choice on the Western Clover Belt All-Conference team. Her senior year, Gilman was 14-8 on the season, losing in the regionals to Cadott. Brenda had 124 assists and 45 kills on the season and was a second-team All-Conference selection. In the winter, Brenda was a 4-year letter winner on the Pirates girls basketball team. Her freshman year, Gilman was 16-9 on the season, losing to Fall Creek in the regional finals. Brenda averaged 7 points per game. Her sophomore year, Gilman was 14-10 on the season, losing to Prentice in the regionals. Brenda averaged 14 points per game and was a second-team selection on the Western Clover Belt All-Conference team. Her junior year, the Pirates were 18-7 on the season. They were regional champs, losing to Prentice in the sectional semifinals. Brenda averaged 17 points per game and was a first-team selection on the Western Clover Belt All-Conference team. Her senior year, Gilman was 17-7 on the season. They were regional champs, losing in the sectional semis to Elmwood. Brenda averaged 18 points a game and was a first-team selection on the Western Clover Belt All-Conference team. In the spring, Brenda was a 3-year letter winner on the Pirates softball team. Her sophomore year, the Pirates were 12-6 on the season, losing to Thorpe in the regionals. Brenda batted .245 with 3 RBIs. Her junior year, Gilman was 10-8 on the season, losing to Abbotsford in the regionals. Brenda batted .275 with 8 RBIs. Her senior year, Gilman was 12-7 on the season, losing to Cadott in the regionals. Brenda batted .292 on the season with 12 RBIs and was a second-team selection on the Western Clover Belt All-Conference team. After graduation, Brenda enrolled at UW-Eau Claire and joined the Blue Gold's women's basketball team, coached by future Wisconsin Badger head women's coach Lisa Stone. Her freshman year, the Blue Golds were 23-6, finishing second in the WIAC and qualifying for the NCAA D3 playoffs, where they would win the Great Lakes Regionals to advance to the Final Four, where they lost in the semis to Washington University from Missouri, and then defeated Wheaton from Massachusetts in the third-place game. Brenda averaged 5 points per game. Her sophomore year, the Blue Golds were 24-5, tying for first in the WIAC to qualify for the NCAA D3 tournament, where they lost in the South Sectional Finals to Oshkosh. Brenda averaged 7 points per game. Her junior year, Eau Claire was 25-4, qualifying for the NCAA 3 tournament, where they lost in the Central Sectionals again to Oshkosh. Brenda averaged 5 points per game. Her senior year, the Blue Golds were 27-4, winning the WIAC and qualifying for the NCAA D3 tournament, where they won the Central Sectional to get to the Final Four, where they defeated Capital of Ohio in the semis before losing to New York University in the finals 72-70. Brenda averaged 6 points per game and was named a co-captain. Brenda graduated from UW-Eau Claire with a degree in math education in 1997. Later that fall, she started as a math teacher and head girls basketball coach at Reedsburg High School. She continued coaching basketball through 2004 when she decided to concentrate on teaching and raising her family. Today, Brenda is in her 26th year teaching at Reedsburg. Brenda Gunn Bester and her husband Brian, who is a science teacher in the Reedsburg School District, and their children, Zachary, Mackenzie, and Bo, reside in Reedsburg. Brenda Gunn, Larry.
Yeah, that was some good years for Gilman back in
that was
90s.
pre before they started going to state.
Yeah.
They made 2 state appearances after she graduated there.
Right.
And that was just a tremendous West then, because that's when Augusta was in there, and Augusta made 2 trips down there.
Yes.
And you still had Fall Creek with Scoosrud, Regis. Just a real.
It was tough.
And of course, on the other side of the fence in the east, you had Mosinee and that bunch.
And Thorpe was good back then.
Yeah, and Thorpe was in the east then. So
man.
Clover Belt women's basketball was not even talk about Owen Withy. So.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. Owen Withy, yeah. It was.
So, but yeah, that Clover Belt girls basketball was tremendous in the 90s and 2000s.
It was very good.
Yeah.
All right, where are they now? Brenda Gunn from Gilman.
Yeah.
All right, moving on here. Of course, the college football playoff expanded to 12 teams, and Ohio State comes out the big winner. Kind of dominated in that game.
Yeah, actually, the score. I think the score is closer than the score. The game was. Score is closer than the game really was.
I thought, when Notre Dame took that ball right down the field in that 9-minute drive, I thought, we're in for a game.
Yeah, because I thought their defense would play better than they did. Their defense was kind of their key to getting there.
Yeah.
But their defense did not play well. Their offense played pretty good.
Their defense could not stop Ohio State.
Yeah.
They went down the field, I think, first 4 times.
And, of course, Ohio State has now already been installed as the favorite for next year. So.
Well, that usually happens.
Them in Texas. So.
Yeah, that usually happens. First time in the final AP poll, by the way, the first time the Big Ten had 3 teams in the top 5.
Yeah.
Well, of course, when you got 20 teams in your conference.
And then Oregon was number 1 all season. So it's just I don't know. So it's.
All right, the NFL is heading into Championship Sunday. What do you think? We got Washington at Philadelphia in the early game at 2 on Fox in the NFC Championship.
Philadelphia a little banged up on defense. They were running out of defensive backs.
And Jalen Hurt might be a little hurt.
Yeah, he got banged around pretty good. And I guess he practiced yesterday from what I read, but he does not look quite himself. Their passing game is not that great. They're going to have to put some points on the board because Washington can score. But
Jaden Daniels.
And he has some nice receivers and a couple of nice running backs. The key to this game, Larry, is if Washington can stop Philadelphia on offense. They got a lot of weapons there too. But if Hurts is not banged up and can't play 100%, that changes the game because he does so many things with his legs.
Right. And then you can key on the one guy.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
Saquon
Barkley, yeah, and he was tremendous.
Yeah, he was.
It's just I can't believe how and the Eagles have a tremendous offensive line. Yeah. Some of those holds he has to run through are unbelievable. So
and you're right. If Washington can stop Philadelphia, because Washington can score,
absolutely,
but can they stop the other team from scoring?
I would love to see Washington win this game. I really would, but I think it's going to be Philly by a field goal, probably.
Okay. All right. So. And then the AFC Championship. Boy, it just seems like we're having this
discussion every year.
It seems Kansas City was this like their 7th AFC Championship game in a row?
I think the last time that. Boy, I tell you, I can't remember the last time, but I said this is a great game. It really is, but. I don't know. That darn Kansas City, and especially at home, they seem to find a way to win.
They do,
And they don't have the best quarterback this year. The best quarterback is playing for Buffalo, but he still finds a way to win. And I'm just afraid, Larry, that's going to happen. And I'll tell you what, I should have, you got to think there's things we can't predict, and that one thing is turnovers.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to the Washington-Detroit game. Who would have thunk that Detroit would have had 5 turnovers and Jared Goff throwing 3 interceptions? We can't predict. And it's saying whoever the ball bounces for in these 2 games is going to be the winner, basically.
Well, and lately it's been Kansas City.
It always seems to bounce their way.
Yep.
They seem to get the I know Houston was crying foul on some penalty calls last weekend, but
so were the Packers. But.
Yeah. That's a nice thing to print in the paper, but it really doesn't mean much. But
I think both these games are going to be close.
I do too, and to me the difference in the Buffalo Kansas City game I think is going to be Harrison Buckner. He's a better kicker than Bass is for Buffalo, and I think.
I didn't see what the weather's going to be like.
I didn't either. And it shouldn't matter because you got Buffalo and Kansas City.
It's
both not
used
like
to
a
it.
warm weather team.
Right.
And the same thing with the other one, Washington, Philadelphia. There should be no warm weather talk or anything like that. And, it's just – but like I said, I would love to see Washington and Buffalo win these games, but Kansas City is so tough in Arrowhead.
I'm right with you.
So
I'm right with you.
I am going to go with Kansas City by Harrison Buckner field goal also.
Yeah,
so.
I'm going to go right with you with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have same thing for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
The early line was Philadelphia by 5.5 and the Chiefs by 1.5.
Yeah, okay. So that's pretty much. Yeah, and of course, if you have a Philadelphia, Kansas City, you can call it an Andy Reid Super Bowl. So
right, yeah. Did they play each other?
No, last time Philadelphia.
Philadelphia played New England.
New England, I believe. Yeah, when Nick Foles was the quarterback.
Yeah, I think that might have been the last time they were.
I don't think they played each other in a Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Like you say, sometimes there's things you can't predict.
Like I said, who would have guessed that Detroit would have turned it over 5 times? How about the Ravens turning it over 3 times? How about Mark Andrews dropping a 2-point conversion? Mark Andrews is about as sure-handed as he comes, and he takes a beating for it, and he should, because he's one of the best tight ends in the National Football League.
Did you hear the Buffalo fans donated tons of money to his favorite charity?
Well, that was nice of them, but I hope they do it. Yeah.
I don't know if that was in
very, very mean-spirited.
I don't know if that was in good taste or if that was sarcastic.
Very sarcastic.
Well, in other words, either way, his charity got money.
It's just.
But I don't know how.
Yeah.
Anyway, the National Baseball Hall of Fame had their class of 2025 announced, and I think some rightful people got in.
This was some good choices. Billy Wagner was a great reliever for the Astros, and it's about time he got in.
Boy, I tell you, 10th time? Really?
Yeah, and he was great. He was one of the best left-handed closers I've ever seen. But CC Sabathia, Ichiro Suzuki, how many people knew what his last name was? Because everybody just called him Ichiro, but 2 guys that no-brainers right there. And Larry, I will never forget the 2008 season when the Brewers picked up Sabathia from the Indians in a trade in early July, and he pretty much willed them to a wild card berth.
He made the difference in that one.
So, and my biggest memory of that was in August they played a game in Pittsburgh, and he was just dominant. And there was a dribbler down the first baseline. He tried twice to pick it up, and he couldn't. And the scorer gave the guy a hit, and that was the only hit he gave up that day. And the Brewers still cry foul that it should have been a no-hitter, but they didn't get it. So.
That was his near no-hitter, yes.
But, anyway, those 3 will join Dave Parker and Richie Allen from the Vets Committee.
Yep.
And Parker, of course, also played for the Brewers a season in 1990, the Cobra.
July 27th is when that induction ceremony will happen. And, of course, we'd be amiss if we didn't say – rest in peace, Mr. Bob Uecker.
Oh, yeah. You and I pretty much grew up. We've had this talk a couple of times. And, I said back in our day, if we wanted to listen to the Brewers, we didn't have much TV in those days. It was very few games were televised, and certainly no home games were.
Right.
If you wanted to catch a game at County Stadium on TV, it better have been a national broadcast. But anyway, Bob Uecker on the radio for you and for me was just a summer ritual, and rest in peace, Bob, but he was a big part of my life, and I said there's 3 guys over the years that I loved listening to, and of course Bob Uecker was one on the Brewers, and then Eddie Doucette with the Milwaukee Bucks and Jim Irwin with the Green Bay Packers. These were guys that I listened to all the time, and they were just great, and Bob Uecker was just, what I've heard of him is just about as nice and genuine a man as there was.
Yes, he was.
So.
Yeah, Jim Irwin and Max McGee.
Yep.
Bob Uecker and Merle Harmon.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know did Eddie Doucette work with a partner? I don't remember. So
yeah, I think he did a lot of his own.
There was a guy named Ron Blomberg, I believe, that worked for the Bucks, and I believe he was Eddie Doucette's partner.
Okay.
And then later on, John McLaughlin after he retired. So
okay.
But Eddie Doucette made the word bango.
Yes. Yeah. They were classics to listen to back in the day.
Some of the great things, like I said, we didn't have the cable TV broadcasts like we do today, and those are guys we listened to. So.
All right, you got about a minute left. I just want to get this in here. Toronto Blue Jays outfielder Dalton Varsho is going to have a new number with Toronto because they signed Anthony Santander to a deal, and he's been wearing the number 25 since he came in. So Dalton is going to give him the number 25, and now Varsho is going to wear number 5.
Okay. All right. I wonder if I don't remember what his dad's number was. So.
well, wait a minute. Dalton's father, Gary, wore number 5.
Okay.
During his final Major League season.
Great. So
there you go. I got to read the rest of the story.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Be a Paul Harvey here. Read the rest of the
and
story.
Dalton, of course, a Golden Glove outfielder and having a great career and so.
All right, girls basketball tonight. Columbus Catholic at Neillsville, 7:15 game time from the field house in Neillsville.
Going for 80 in a row.
80 in a row in the Eastern
Clover
Clover
Belt,
Belt for Neillsville. 7:15 on 92.7 WPKG. That'll wrap it up here on a Thursday. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again later.